right, first and foremost, thank you to Rabbi Axelrod, the Shul lay leadership, family and friends, and everyone who have come out tonight to attend. We so appreciate everyone coming out and really appreciate everyone coming to commemorate the 14th Yahrtzeit of our mother, Sheri, Grauer, Raskas, or Shoshana Leah Bat Moshe. I just wanted to spend a very few brief minutes and share some life lessons that we learned from our mother. And I just kind of put this into kind of top 10 in no specific order of lessons that really have kind of stood out for myself and for some of my family members who we've spoken about in the last few days. Number 10, it's always worth a phone call. My mom successfully set up at least 2 people. If you know Shani Reich and Shul, my mom was instrumental in setting up her sister, Rebecca. My mom also set up 2 different people who both were previously married and helped them get remarried to each other. Number 9, extremes are not good. She was very much against chumrot without a clear purpose and reason, and she was a huge believer in modern orthodoxy and centrist orthodoxy. Number 8, family is everything and should be prioritized accordingly. Number 7, it's easier to be stringent when it comes to religion than it is to be lenient. Number 6, for parenting, choose the choice that makes the most sense for each child, even if it is not the most popular option at that time. Number 5, rabbis deserve our highest amount of respect. Number 4, choosing your spouse should be at an early age and is one of life's most important decisions. Number 3, always smile. If you knew my mom, she really kind of lit up a room when she walked in, and that's something that I think many of us really remember about her. Number 2, again on the family theme, treat your son-in-law and daughter-in-law like your own children. Number 1, leave the Divrei Torah for the rabbi, which I thought would be a good segue to our speaker tonight. And just a little bit more about that before I do introduce the speaker. She was just very passionate about, at family events and family gatherings, when you had family around the table, when you had family speaking to one another, there was always someone else, especially a rabbi or someone else, who can speak about the parsha, etc. But there are those family members and few and in between who can really speak personally about the family and personally about those who are around us. So with that, I just would like to very quickly introduce our incredible speaker, Rabbi Schacter, tonight. He's held so many positions across so many incredible organizations, ranging from the first rabbi at the Young Israel of Sharon, rabbi at the Joseph Salvation Institute in Brookline, rabbi at the Jewish Center, university professor at YU, and now finally leader of Operation Benjamin. And for those who aren't aware, I highly recommend you learn more, either online or by speaking with Rabbi Schacter, about what he's doing there, about really correcting the gravestones of Jewish American soldiers who were killed in World War II and all the incredible work that's gone on there. So without further ado, thank you very much, and Rabbi Schacter.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. And thank you for the words that you shared about your mom. It's very special to be able to participate in such a meaningful event, to remember someone who was so important, not only to Stanley and to the children and to the members of the family, but to the larger Jewish community, who was larger than life. In preparing for this presentation this evening, Stanley sent me his book. It's a real gesunte book that I studied carefully. Thank God there are a lot of pictures in there so that I didn't have to do reading on every single page, but it was extraordinary. And I actually reviewed it again this evening to remind myself. And the story of Stanley and Sheri is a remarkable one. Leili Nishmas Shoshana Leah Bas Harav Moshe Utamima, and I want to devote the Torah tonight to her memory. What an odyssey you had. Camp Masad, Upper West Side, my old my old homestead, Flatbush. I actually lived in Flatbush first year after my marriage. And then you were a rabbi here, and she was a Rebbitzin. If you were a rabbi, she was a Rebbitzin, but it only lasted a year, so it didn't last too long, not for you and not for her. Baruch Hashem, it's all wonderful, thank God. I did like number 5 in the list. What was number 5? Rabbis deserve the highest respect. That was number 5 in the list that you mentioned before. And you were a rabbi for a year, and you deserve the highest respect for an entire lifetime of incredible service to the Jewish community and to the Jewish people. And then to St. Louis for a long time, and back to New Rochelle. And her impact was very profound. The first 3 words, Stanley, of your hesped were family, family, family. And you ended where you began, also with family. And when we talked about what I would address this evening, we talked about family, and that is the title, The Power of Family in Times of Blessing and in Times of Challenge. But when I was reading the book and rereading the book, one word kept on coming back to me that is at the core of your life and of Sheri Oleh Shalom's, her life, and that is gratitude. And the expression of gratitude for the brachos, the many brachos that Baruch Hashem you both had, and the brachos that you created in your family and in your various communities. And the more I was thinking about it, the more I thought that I would focus on the theme of gratitude as an expression of the power of family, because it's relevant to all of us. We appreciate family, we understand family, and we appreciate the power of Hakaras HaTov. We express Hakaras HaTov to the rabbis of this shul. Rabbi Axelrod is here. Hakaras HaTov to the lay leadership of this shul. And Hakaras HaTov to our families, and Hakaras HaTov to the Rabbona Shalom. And I want to focus on the notion of gratitude and how it plays itself out in the context of family, and invite us to think about for ourselves in Le'ili Nishmas Shoshana Leah Bas Harav Moshe Tamima, to ourselves internalize what is it that we have to be grateful for in our lives. There are difficulties, there are challenges, and there's also a lot to be grateful for. And I want to frame the context of gratitude. Mizmor L'Soda, I hope you all have a copy of the handout. Anybody not have, there are a couple of extras here on the end of the bima. Anybody need a copy of the handout? Okay. Mizmor L'Soda, there is an entire Mizmor in Tehillim. We're going to be studying together. Anybody who knows me knows I don't come to speak to you, I come to learn with you, come with sheets. There's a lot of Hebrew here. Ki tov Hashem la'olam chasto v'ad dor v'dor emunaso. Ki tov Hashem la'olam chasto. Here is chesed, God is, kindness is forever, and his faithfulness is from generation to generation. Psalm 100 in Sefer Tehillim. Mizmor L'Toda. We have now an entire text, biblical text, an entire chapter that focuses on saying thank you. There's a very interesting halacha when it comes to this particular paragraph. It's familiar to us because it has been incorporated into the regular weekday Shacharis davening. This perek is recited as part of the Psukei de Zimra at the beginning. After Hodu, before Yehi Chavod, we say pretty much every day, not every day, not on Shabbos, not on Yom Tov. There are other days that we don't say it, but most of the time, we recite Mizmor L'Soda. Paskins the Shulchan Aruch in the middle of page 1. Mizmor L'Soda yesh la'omro benegina. Shekol hashiros asidos libotel. Chutz mi Mizmor L'Soda. So, I don't know if you know about this. I didn't know about it till I started to look into it. Lo and behold, it's a beferish Shulchan Aruch, which means like it's in the big book that we use to define ritual practice. It's not like a yesh omrim somewhere, somebody says, maybe you should think about it. It's flat out. When was the last time, survey shows, you sang Mizmor L'Soda or you heard someone sing Mizmor L'Soda? It's hard enough for us to crawl ourselves into shul on a Tuesday morning at 6:30 or 7, and, we're groggy, and we're just trying to, keep our eyes open and shtickle focus. And all of a sudden, they're in Mizmor L'Soda, Hariu L'Hashem Kol Haaretz. No, you never heard it. I could see how you're looking at me. Shtickle. Odd. Shulchan Aruch says that we have to sing Mizmor L'Soda. Why? Fascinating. Shekol hashiros hasidos libotel chutz mi Mizmor L'Soda. Not sure exactly what that means. All songs, at some point, ultimately, are going to be forgotten. They're going to be overlooked. They're going to be put to the side. This song, the song of gratitude, will remain forever. The Vilna Gaon on this section, on this passage in the Shulchan Aruch, brings as its source the bottom of the page. It's a Medrash Rabbah in Parshas Tzav. Medrash Rabbah says, La'asid lavo kol ha'karbanos b'telin v'korban toda eno batel. Fascinating. There's a whole series of sacrifices that are outlined in great detail, especially at the beginning of Sefer Vayikra. They're all going to be gone one day. Gone, done. Except for Korban Toda. There is a korban called Korban Toda. Korban Toda isn't going anywhere. It's going to stay forever. Gratitude will remain forever. And Rashi tells us in the middle of the next page that Mizmor L'Soda, this chapter in Tehillim, was recited when the Toda sacrifice was brought. So we have now a nexus between the sacrifice, Toda, and the prayer, Toda. And just like the sacrifice will remain forever, so too the song, this particular song, unlike any other sacrifice, unlike any other song, will remain forever. And therefore, says the Gaon of Vilna at the top of page 2, that's why we sing this chapter. So I will let you in on a little secret. I sing Mizmor L'Soda every morning. I do it softly because I don't want people to think I'm a little bit odd, which they probably would think if in Mitten Derinnen I would burst out with song. So I do it quietly, but I sing Mizmor L'Soda. And I try to get to shul 30 seconds earlier so I could take a little bit more time to express my gratitude. Every day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day, to express my gratitude, not just to say it and daven it up, comatose, maybe, but to actually sing it as an expression of Hakaras HaTov to the Rabbonu Shalom. The Torah paskins in the second source on page 2 that there's another unique quality to this particular paragraph to this particular chapter. Says the Tur, Yesh Makomos Shenoagin Lomar Mizmor Lesoda, David Kav'o La'omro Lifnei Ha'aron. Lifnei Ha'aron. So here's the Aron. Lifnei Ha'aron. What does that mean? Isn't all of davening Lifnei Ha'aron? So maybe it means to open the Aron. We don't open the Aron. What do we do? I'm asking you a question. What do we do? Mizmor Lesoda, we stand up. Did you ever wonder, mitten der Rinnen, was etwas a Yahrtzeit geworden, Mizmor Lesoda? All of a sudden, Mizmor Lesoda, V'ashrei, terra firma, clunked in my seat. Ashrei is a chashuv tefillah, kol ha'omer tefillah, tehillah leDavid, sholosh pe'amim, b'chol yom muftach lo, shehu ben olam haba. You say it 3 times a day, you're going straight to heaven. Like, that's a biggie. And I'm like, ich sitz gesund. Mizmor Lesoda, I'm jumping on Mizmor Lesoda, mitten in the Rinnen. And then before I know it, I'm down again. Because the whole thing is 4 lines. So we get up. This is our, poor imitation of the Tur's halacha of Lifnei Ha'aron. We don't open the Aron. We stand up. So my first question is, why is it, in fact, so significant and so important? Vos epis Mizmor Lesoda. It's very sweet. It's very sweet. Thank you. Very sweet. There are other parts of davening that are also very sweet, and maybe even more substantial, and maybe even more dispositive, more significant. Mizmor Lesoda Gevaron Ayachsen. We sing Mizmor Lesoda. We should sing Mizmor Lesoda. We stand for Mizmor Lesoda. Question number 1. Question number 2. Left side in the middle of page 2. The Torah tells us what the Korban Todah is. We already know that there is a sacrifice called thank you sacrifice. It's called gratitude sacrifice. And the Torah lays it out in Perek Zayin, in Sefer Vayikra, Im al Todah Yakrivenu. So there are a number of korbanos, number of sacrifices that are described in detail. And now we come to the thank you sacrifice. And the halacha is, lo yaniach, I'm skipping to where it's underlined, mimenu ad boker. Different sacrifices have different time lengths in which we have to consume the meat of that sacrifice. So you have some, many, where you have the rest of the day where the sacrifice was brought in the Beit HaMikdash. You have the night following, and then you have the entire next day until nightfall. So you have, 4 hours, 5 hours daylight, a whole night, and a whole day. Not so Korban Todah. Lo yaniach mimenu ad boker. You have the day, the rest of the day that it was brought, and you have the night, and you better make sure there's nothing left in the morning. We do not have the luxury of the entire next day. And my second question is, why is that? Why is it that we have a relatively short amount of time, unusual, short amount of time for the Korban Todah? And I want to sharpen my question, because what is the Korban Todah? The Korban Todah is highly unusual, because we have the meat of the sacrifice like we have the other korbanos, but we're not done yet. What else is in the Korban Todah? How many loaves of bread? 40 loaves of bread. Stel zich voor. 40 loaves of bread. I got a lot of work to do. And now you're telling me you just lopped off 9 hours. And you're telling me it's got to be done by daylight. Question number 2, why do I have a relatively short period of time for a monsoon of food that has to be consumed? Other sacrifices, you eat the animal. Some goes to the Kohen, you eat. Here you have that, plus. How are you going to do it? And why do I have such a short period of time? Question number 3. There is something in our davening that's called modim derabanan. What is modim derabanan? So help me out. What is modim derabanan? I'm in class now. What is modim derabanan? Okay, help me. Modim derabanan takes the place of the korban toda. But wait a minute. What about modim? There's a modim, and then there's a modim derabanan. What is the modim derabanan? What is the purpose of the modim derabanan? While the chazan is saying modim, the tzibur says modim derabanan. Did you ever wonder, why is there no Shema Kolenu derabanan? Why is there no Hashiva Shoftenu Kvarishona derabanan? Why is there no Atachonin derabanan? The only bracha that is recited by the leader of the congregation who is praying, the Shaliach Tzibur, the only one that the Tzibur chimes in and says on its own is the Rabbanan Modim, not any other bracha. I think we should have a Slach Lanu Rabbanan. When the Shaliach Tzibur says Slach Lanu, we should say Epis a Minig and a Nusach eingewurzelt, Epis something Slach Lanu. Why is Modim Rabbanan the only Modim Rabbanan? Why is that the only time we chime in? We don't ever chime in for anything else. Third question. Final question. What's the first thing we say in the morning? I'm a retching from gratitude. Speaking of gratitude, the first thing that pops out, and we're not even in shul half dead, we're in bed still with the pajamas, and we're trying to like groggy, and we're trying to figure out what day it is, and where am I, what's going on, wie Haltman, making sure that the Boehner are still like working. First thing out of my mouth is, thank you, God, Moda Ani Lefonecha. Now, let's recite it together. Melech Chai V'Kayam, thank you. My thanks is expressed to you, O Lord, the living and everlasting God. Shechazarta binishmasi b'chemla, that's the way you should say it, by the way, b'chemla kama, that you have returned to me, my soul, in mercy. What are the last two words? Question number 4. Rabba emunosecha. God, you have faith. Did you ever wonder? God, you are amazing. You have faith. Shmendrik, nobody me. I'm giving a big mishaberach to the Rabbi Shalom. God, you are amazing. You have faith. You know what? This Yom Kippur, I want you to come to the Young Israel of New Rochelle, and we're going to give you Psicha Fena'ila, and we're going to give you Mafter Yoina, because you have faith. You have faith. But God needs me, nobody, to give God a Kish and Piskel, to say, God, you have faith. It is ridiculous, is it not? What should I have said? What should the last two words be? Rabba emunasi. God, you're amazing. You woke me up. And you gave me my soul back with mercy. My faith is now further restored in you. I have now strengthened. Rabba emunasi. Wow, you're amazing. That's what I should have said. Ich misgeben der Rabbi Shalom a knippen beckel. I'm going to tell God, whoa, wow, do you have faith? Did you ever wonder? It's a good question, right? It's a good question. Makes no sense. I've been saying Moda Ani for decades, until my late father, Rabbi Herschel Schacter, Zachrono Livracha, he's now gone 10 years, Erev Pesach. He was ill for a number of years before, maybe 20 years ago. He says to me, JJ, tell me pshat, Modahani. Doesn't make any sense. And he's right. What comes to my mind is an expression that I'm dating myself, and those of you who will know what I'm talking about will date yourselves. Nafal ha'asimo. The gedenkst, nafal, you remember? Nafal ha'asimo. The asimo, remember asimonim? You had to make a phone call. You're stipping these things into the thing. When I was in Israel, I was learning in the Yeshivat Mir in 1968. 1968. And I wanted to talk to my parents. I made an appointment at the main post office on Rehov Yafo 3 months in advance to come at 4 o'clock so that they're going to give me a little butkala and they're going to connect the call. I spoke to my parents once. Today, if the kid in Israel doesn't call you, you get nervous because Nebuch does what to get nervous about. If 3 times a day the kid doesn't call, you're wondering, chas v'shalom, your mom is panicking. Once for the entire year, I got there at 2 o'clock because I didn't want to be late. At 6 o'clock, they call me, and I pick up the phone. I don't hear a word. International calls, static, Gornish. Mom, I love you. Goodbye. That was it. That was it. Even the Asimon not Megornish Gehov. He's right. How can you say Rabba Emunah Sacha? 4 questions. I'm going to repeat the questions. Question number 1 is why is Mizrah L'Soda so special? I sing it. I stand, Lefnei ha'aron. Question number 2, why do I have such a short period of time to consume the Korban Todah? It's only the rest of the day and the night. So siru mimeno ad boker, by boker I'm done. And on top of that, there's a lot for me to eat. Question number 3 is, was epis only a modim derabanan? Why not a takah b'shofar derabanan? Why not a Baruch Aleinu derabanan? Why not a Rifa'enu derabanan? Why is that the only one that the community feels the need to chime in while the guy is talking? Everything else, shah still, I say, amen, I'm good to go. Here, I got to belt it out. I got to say my own thing. Question number 4, what is Rabba Emunah? There is a very prominent professor by the name of Robert Emens, now at the bottom of page 2, who is the Vimazuk, the Rashke Bahag of gratitude in America. He is the expert on gratitude in America. He wrote a book called Thanks, How Practicing Gratitude Can Make You Happier. He printed it in 2007, and it made so many people happy that he had to reprint it. A year later, he already reprinted a second printing. Says Robert Emens. It's a great book. This is all the way at the beginning of the book, page 4. In my own thinking about gratitude, when out the bottom of page 2 in the handout, I found it very helpful to conceive of it in terms of 2 stages. First, gratitude is the acknowledgement of goodness in one's life. So sit with that for a minute. In gratitude, we say yes to life. We affirm that all things taken together, life is good and has elements that make it worth living. It's not all good. Taken together, there's not good stuff. There's not good stuff. A big gadol, if we're here, we could put one foot in front of another, and we could hear and we could see, and we could appreciate what we have. It has elements that make it worth living. The acknowledgement that we have received something gratifies us, either by its presence or by the effort the giver went into choosing it. Somebody goes out of their way to get me a birthday present. It's not just the cheftza. Let's talk yeshivish. It's not the cheftza of the present necessarily only. What is it? It's the gavra of the giver of the present. That this gavra or gavrata went out of their way to do this That adds a panache. It adds a level of significance. That's number one. Number two, gratitude is recognizing that the source of this goodness lie at least partially outside the self. The object of gratitude is other-directed. One can be grateful to other people, to God, to animals, but never to oneself. It's a very interesting insight. This is one significant way, says Emmons, in which gratitude differs from other emotional dispositions. A person can be angry at himself, pleased with herself, proud of himself, feel guilty about doing something wrong, but it would be bizarre to say that a person feels grateful to herself. Even if you bought yourself a lavish dinner, as I am inclined to do when I order room service, it would be peculiar if I were to give thanks to myself. Yeshikayach JJ, you bought yourself a dinner. Wow, you're a great guy. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Thanks are outer-directed to the giver of gifts. So it turns out that Emmons was mechaven to Rabbi Yitzchak Hutner, to the Pachad Yitzchak, top of page 3. Yitzchak Hutner was an incredible, towering powerhouse of an intellect who was a Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivas Chaim Berlin in the second part of the last century, who wrote a whole series of sfarim called Pachad Yitzchak. They're on the Yom Tovim, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Purim, Sukkot, Chanukah, and so on. And they're thoughtful, and they're original, fascinating. So in the Pachad Yitzchak of Chanukah, Maimir Beis, Perek Beis, top of page 3, and I'll just read a few sentences, and I will translate. He has a very interesting insight. B'binyan hamilim shel lashon hakodesh, in the construction of words in Hebrew, nizdamnu lepundak echad shnei musagin. There are two concepts that come together. In the Hebrew language, there are two concepts that come together in the same word. Haba'at hachzakat tova, express gratitude. Dankin, dankin means a dank, thank you. And vahaskama ledas atzad hasheni nochgem, and admitting that somebody else is right. And he goes on to say that in our lives, we would like to think that we are in control of life, that we are the arbiters of our own destiny. I could take care of this by myself. The reality is, se fangt sich nicht tun, se lasst sich nicht aus, it's not happening. I can't, I'm not in control. So when I say thank you to you, because you did something for me that I could not do by myself, you provide me with something that I could not provide for myself, I am thereby perforce admitting that you have a role in my life that I myself cannot fulfill. You admit your limitations when one expresses gratitude to someone else. It's the same word. It is outer directed, lefi shitas Emmons. Outer directed means that when I'm saying thank you, willy-nilly at that moment, I am admitting that without you, now I couldn't get what I just got from you. So there is something very strong and powerful about gratitude. With that yesod, let us now try to understand and appreciate gratitude. We understand how important it is. It is the core of the human condition. Gratitude means humility. Gratitude means I can't do this by myself. Ich bin a großer Knacker. I would love to do it by myself. I think I could do this. I could do this. No, you can't. You can't do this. And you fill in the blank for the this. We need others to provide for us. We need the Rabbanu Shalom to provide for us. We can't do it alone. That is such a fundamentally powerful core awareness, acknowledgement, recognition that we have to sing when we say it, and we have to stand when we say it. It's a big deal. This is the stuff of the human condition. What was the second question? Why do I have such a limited time? Remember the second question? Lo yasim rimenu ad boker. By the morning, it's got to be done. Who are you kidding? For many other korbanos, I got to hold this and a night and a day. And here I got to crunch it in, and I got to crunch in all the meat and the 40 loaves of bread. Zogt the Netziv, the bottom right of page 3. Why is it that we have such a short period of time? Who's the Netziv, the Heilige Netziv? I always tell my students, his mother didn't call him Netzivale. Netzivale, kimahen Netzivale, do me a favor, throw out the garbage. Netzivale, did you wash behind your ears when you took a bath last night? Naftali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin, from the Gedolei Yisrael of the 19th century, the Yeshiva in Volozhin, one of the greatest of the great, and he has a parish on the Chumash called Hamek Davar. It's based on Chumash Shiurim he gave in the Volozhin Yeshiva, and he asks this question: why do we have such a short period of time? And he answers, bottom right, underline, Kadesha Yihye Marbe Reim L'Seuda Achas Biyom Hakrava V'Yihye Sipur Hanes Lifnei Rov Hanashim. Because you need to understand one fundamental fact when it comes to eating the korban, and that is the Baal HaKorban does not have to take care of this all by herself or himself. It's got to be eaten. It doesn't mean that I have to eat it. It's impossible. So how is it going to get eaten? I'm going to invite my 100 nearest and dearest yummy buddies, and they're all going to come to my meal. Kinderlach, the Evite goes out. Come to JJ's tonight. We're going to have a yomtiv. We're going to eat. And you got bread. We got meats. It's unlimited, gesinnt, gewaldig. Everybody's going to come in, say, why are we having a party on a Tuesday night? So I'm going to tell them, you know why? Because God was so good to me. And because I was ill and I got better. Or because I went over the desert. There are 4 things in the Gemara at the end of Maseches Brachas, that criteria to determine the obligation to bring a korban toda. So let me tell you about the greatness of God. And so I need a lot of people to eat it, and I need a real lot of people because it's got to be eaten. If I had the whole next day, then I could do 60 people. But now it's got to be done by tonight. First thing by dawn, so I have to invite 100 people. The more people I invite, the more people are going to know of the chesed that God did to me. That's why I want to have a lot of people, and that's why I have it in such a short period of time. You should invite many friends, more friends than you otherwise would, because you only have a short period of time to eat it. Biyom hakrava. I would like to suggest another interpretation. And this is something that, to me, is a fundamental component of my own life. And I think you will agree with me that children cannot possibly do for parents what parents have done for children. So I will talk from my own experience. You can all think about it in your own experiences. I could never do. Baruch Hashem, my parents both lived till they were 95. And I was a good son. I really tried. But I couldn't possibly do for them what they did for me. I'm not talking about diapering And I'm not talking about raising me and spending time with me and going for walks with me and training me. And I'm not talking about paying tuition for me. And I'm not talking about sending me to camp. And I'm not talking about, and I'm not talking about, and I'm not talking about. Make a list. So I try to be good to my parents. I really tried. I miss them. I don't have them anymore. It was a big part of my life. But it was a shmek tabet gunisht compared to what they did for me. So how do I express my gratitude? How does one ultimately express gratitude in a situation where it's impossible to fully express gratitude? What's the answer? The answer is an English expression, 2 words, pay forward. What does pay forward mean? That I'm going to do for my kids what my parents did for me. I am going to live a life where I am going to try to be mahane as many people as possible, to make nice, to help, to elevate, to support, to hug, to bring cheer to as many people as possible as an expression of hakaras hatov for what was done for me. Why am I in this world and why am I who I am? Because people invested in me. My parents, my rabbeim, my professors, my teachers, my friends. The only way you could express gratitude in a profound, meaningful way is to pay forward. That's why there's such a short period of time for a korban toda, because I have to invite a lot of people. Why do I have to invite a lot of people? Not only the way the Netziv says, so they all know about the reason for this wonderful largesse, but because I'm giving all these people all this food, and I'm being such a nice guy, and I'm helping them, and I'm feeding them, and I'm bringing them all together, and we're going to have a wonderful festive time. I'm giving them. I'm doing for them. That's really what gratitude is. Recognizing that without someone else, I couldn't do it, and then recognizing that without me, they couldn't do it. And so therefore, my job in this world is to pay forward. I spend a lot of time trying to pay forward, and it's conscious for me. It's conscious. We all do chesed. We all do chesed. Baruch Hashem, we're a people of chesed. This community is a community of chesed. Mishpachat Raskas is world-renowned for chesed. Think about the chesed in the context of Mizmor Latoda. It's not just this sort of visceral sense because we're nice, and we are nice, but because we have an obligation to do for others what was done for us. What was the third question? Third question is, why is there only a modem derabanan? Why isn't there a hashiva shoftenu kavari shona derabanan? Look at the last page, page 4. So I quote you, modem derabanan. We know modem derabanan. You have the big modem, and the big letters is the chazen's modem, and then the little letter loch, it's a knockoff of the chazen's modem. We thank Hashem, Yotzreinu, Yotzer Bereshis, Brachos Vahodos, Shechizonu, V'kiyam Tonu. Do you know why? So the Avodram on the bottom right says, think about this. Shaliach Tzibur could be motzi mi. What's the point of a Shaliach Tzibur? Why do we have Chazar Sashatz? Why do we have Chazar Sashatz? Trust me, I'd be much happier without Chazar Sashatz. It'll lop off 5 minutes of Tuesday morning Shachris. I already said it. I need this guy to get up and Becca through it again. I just heard it. I just said it. We're done. Let's move on. Tachnun, Ashrei, we're out of here. Vos Lake 2, why do I have this? Answer, because maybe there's a guy or somebody in the audience who didn't say it because can't say it. So you Yahrtzeit, when the guy Where's the guy? I don't see where the guy, over there. The guy stands over there. Yeah, where the guy stands. So I hear, Shomea Ka'ona, I'm good to go. The Shliach Tzibur could fulfill the obligation for me for every single bracha, but not for Modim. He cannot say thank you for me. Nobody else could say thank you for me. He can say slach lanu for me. He can say, God re'enu v'anyenu, God bring me help, God feed me, God make a great year, God bring peace, God give me wisdom, God forgive me. He could do all of that for me, and I listen, and I'm good to go. But he cannot say thank you for me. Every person, as I state in the Avedram, bottom right, every person has to say modim. There is no such thing as expressing gratitude by proxy. You can't be motzi me in modim. You're saying modim, I'm jumping in. I got to say my own modim. Because every single individual has got to say modim, has to say thank you. You can't be motzi me in modim. Last question. Modani lefonecha melech chai v'kayom shechazarta b'nishmasi b'chemla rabba. What? So my father told me. He said to me, JJ, I'll tell you what the pshat is. We get up in the morning, and we're half dead, and we're groggy, and we're still in la-la land. And immediately we thank God for waking us up and giving us back our soul in mercy. Because, why did God give me my soul? Because Rabba emuna secha in me. Because you have faith in me. You know why you woke me up this morning? You woke me up this morning because you had faith that JJ isn't going to just fritter away the day, isn't going to just futz around and just let the day go by. You had faith in me. You woke me up because you, Rabba emuna secha in me, that I'm going to do something meaningful today. I'm going to help an old lady cross the street. I'm going to do a chesed. I'm going to learn a Mishnah. Something. You had faith in me. That's what we thank God for. And that is the ultimate gratitude. The ultimate gratitude is God has faith in me. And when my father told that to me, it revolutionized my moda'ani. And I have to tell you, I believe it. I mamish believe that God wakes me up because God has faith in me. You know what that means? That the big G, God, has faith in Shmendrik nobody. God has faith. Whoa! Wow, that's amazing. God has faith. Right, that's what it says in the book. I have to say that. It says there in the big letters that I can't read because my eyes are closed and I'm not wearing my glasses yet. It says God has faith in me. God has faith in me. That's the ultimate gratitude. Not just for what God does for me, but God believes in me. God believes in each one of us. That we're going to get up in the morning and we're going to do something meaningful. And maybe 2.5 things that are meaningful. But that's why he woke us up. Because Rabba emuna secha in me. Question number 1, why is gratitude so important? Why is moda'ani, why is Mizmor L'Soda, we sing it, V'sepes HaMishigas. I invite you to come to Teaneck, where I live. Come in tomorrow morning, come near my table, and you're going to hear me singing Mizmor L'Soda. Why? Ashrei is much more important than Mizmor L'Soda. Yishtabach? Kriya Shema? Give me a break. Mizmor L'Soda. And Lifnei Ha'aron, we stand. Did you ever wonder why we stand for Mizmor L'Soda? You get up, it's like, jump up, sit down, up, because it's powerful. because it is extraordinarily powerful, because it speaks to the core of the human condition, because Eamon says, and Rav Hutner says, I don't know how many people ever put the two of them in the same sentence before, say that it's out-directed because I'm admitting that I cannot do this by myself. I am acknowledging my limitations as a human being, and I'm acknowledging, therefore, my gratitude to someone else and my gratitude to the Almighty. Why do I have a short period of time? Only lo yasiru mimenu ad boker, not because the way the Netziv says that I have to invite a lot of people so that they all know the miracle. Yeah, of course, great. But maybe also because I'm doing something for them I can't do. My father-in-law, Zechrona Levracha, used to say, Ein tata kenemen care of 9 kinder kennen nicht nemen care of ein taten. One father could take care of 9 children. 9 children can't take care of one father. He had 9 children. My wife is one of 9 children. He took care of 9 children, he and his wife, Aleim Hashalom, Zechronom Levracha. 9 children can't take care of one father, one mother. He can't. So what do? You pay forward. That's why you invite so many people, to be mahana, so many people, as an expression of gratitude. Why is there only a modim de Rabbanon and not a hashiva shoftenu kavarishona de Rabbanon? Because the shliach tzibur could be motzi me with everything. Slach lanu, bang away, babe. He could say slach lanu for me, and I'm saying amen, and I'm good to go. Sign me up, put me down, slach lanu. Modim? No. I have to say modim. Nobody could say thank you for me. Rabbi Emunasecha, 4th question, very odd. Emunasecha, when I'm giving God a Misha Beirach, that he has faith, I am, because he has faith in me. And I want to conclude with the bottom left of page 3. The bottom left of page 3. It's a fascinating story in the Navi. V'isha achas min neshe v'nei hanavim. So the story is that there was this woman, Nebuch, who was very distraught. She was a widow, and her husband was a very fine, pious man, passed away. She's left alone with 2 sons, and she, Mamish Nebuch, has nothing. And she owes a lot of money, and the creditor is now coming to the house because she's at her wit's end. And the creditor is going to take away, as I state in Pasuk, her 2 sons and put them to work in order to pay off the debt. And she is beside herself. So she goes to Elisha. Avdacha ishi meis. My husband died. V'ata yodata ki avdacha haya yireas Hashem. You know, he was a good guy, my husband. V'hano sheba, and the creditor is now coming. Lokachas shnei yolodai. What am I going to do? Listen to the answer. Listen to what he says, and I'm going to invite you to listen or to imagine what he does not say. V'yomer eleha Elisha. You with me? Bottom left, page 3, line 4. V'yomer eleha Elisha, ma esalach. What do you want me to do for you? Hagidi li, tell me. Ma yesh lach babayis. What do you have at home? Vatomer, and she says, you know what? I really don't have a lot. I have like a little jug. I have a little jug. He says, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take the jug, and then you're going to go to your neighbors, and you're going to fill up the jug, and then you're going to fill up the jug, and then you're going to fill up the jug, and you're going to fill up the jug is going to mamish oisa gevein piles of oil. You're going to be swimming in oil, miracle. You're going to sell the oil. You satisfy the creditor. Shalom HaYisra. They got to be a prophet. That's pretty gutsy. Kachava saves this woman. What does Elisha tell this woman? What does Elisha not tell this woman? Elisha tells this woman, Ma yesh lach babayis. What does that mean? What do you have at home? He does not say, yesh lach babayis. Do you have anything at home that might be helpful to you? He doesn't say, do you have anything at home? What does he say? What do you have at home? Why? Because he knows that she has something at home. He knows that in her house right now, she does already have the instrument of her salvation. The question is, what is it? What do you have? Do you have it? I know you have it. What do you have? He does not say, Yesh lach babayis. Do you have anything there? He knows she has. His question is, what do you have? And here's what I want to conclude talking about family. We have the brachos in our houses. We have the brachos in our houses. Our job is to find it, to recognize it, and to appreciate it. The instrument of our salvation, that which will help us get through. The title of the talk is The Power of Family in Times of Blessing and in Times of Challenge. What will get us through, particularly the times of challenge? You're looking at it. We didn't want to be in this situation. Tragedy happens. We don't understand it. Horrible. So what am I going to do? I'm going to look around and I'm going to get support to help me in the most difficult of circumstances from that which is already in my house. Look around. What did the Navi tell her to do? Go where? Go to your neighbor and get oil. Go to your neighbor. This is an amazing community. The New Rochelle community is an amazing community. L'shemu l'seferes. Look around in the shul on a Shabbos morning. Look at your community. Look at your neighbors. Look at your family. Look at your spouses. Look at your children. Look at your einiklach. This is the source of your salvation. Ma yesh lach babayis, because we've got it. And when we appreciate it, and I mean, take some time and mull over this a little bit. Like, look around. When you get home, look around. Look at the brachas. How am I going to get through very challenging circumstances? I'm going to look around. I'm going to try to get help from those who are right there. Concentric circles of support. Couple, family, community, Jewish people, state of Israel. Baruch Hashem, we have it. And it is for that that we express gratitude. And that's why we sing, and that's why we stand. And that's why we invite so many people, because we want to just pass it on. And that's why we have to say modim and only modim, because we have to say it. And that's what we thank God for every single morning. First thing we say is, God, thank you, because you have faith in me. Ha'isha Shoshana Leah Bas Rav Moshe Tamima Tehei Nishmasa Tzuror B'Tzuror HaChaim. Have a good evening.